friends, I'm here to talk to you about this finished journal and do a little flip through. This was a book I made about a year ago. It is a it has 6 signatures that I did a Coptic binding between some, what was essentially mat board. And I left the cover white for a really long time because it was a white mat board and just had a piece of cloth protecting the spine. But here last week, I decided that it was really dirty and I wanted to update it. So I covered it with this really lovely dyed blue paper and covered the spine first and then wrapped and then did this on the inside. So you can see the binding here a little bit. You know, if I were a professional binder, that might look a little different, but this is what I did with this particular book, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. I wish I wish that I could manage to figure out how to give my bindings enough space that I don't get this, but I guess that's just the nature of the kind of stuff that I make, that I always end up with books that look like this. And you know, it's been well used when the binding actually has to wrap around the pages. But yeah, I'm gonna do a quick flip through. I made this book actually to do a landscape class, and so I was started. There's a lot of like samples of, you know, watercolors and pencils and stuff in here at the beginning. And then I didn't really enjoy the landscape class, so I decided to just start doing my own thing in it, and then it turned into something really good. So there's a pretty significant shift here in a few minutes. You'll see where I start doing other stuff, but here at the beginning there are a few landscapes, and most of them are made up kind of landscapes. Some of them are kind of beach landscapes. I love the water, so there's a lot of water things. Again, a sampler, some studies in ink, again, water. I sketched my back porch, all the plants out there last fall. This is a book that I made up of a bunch of different pages. So some of it, like this was a page of actually deli paper, so it's really delicate and it has gotten bent. Here's a flower petal. I love arches. I go back to them a lot. You'll notice the arches at the front. I've been doing arches for a lot of years, and it's kind of my go-to when I'm like stuck and don't know exactly what to do. I'm like, oh, I'll do some arches. This is a piece of cheesecloth. This is a water lily that my youngest kid picked up at the beach. It had blown off, it was a storm, and so it had washed up on the beach, and we dried it and it turned this lovely dark purple color. I love it so much. That writing into wet paint, I love that. I've been doing a lot of dyeing, so there's a lot of dyed stuff, and these pages are pretty dark because they have a lot of coffee on them, so you can see I'm sort of testing where the limits are with dark things. And I think, yeah, this is just all glued together. And then here's I took a dyeing class, and so this is a spread I made out of a bunch of paper I had dyed. And it's kind of almost a landscape into itself, even though it's not really. I also went through a phase last year where I used these colors exclusively, and so the next few pages you'll see this kind of brown and this mustard and this teal and this purple. I did them quite a lot just to see what I could do, thinking about composition, abstract composition, and then you know, using the same color palette over and over again, and what you get as far as difference. And like, clearly this page and this page are the same colors, but what a radically different look those are. And again, you know, highlighting that kind of tealy green and leaving that brown in the background. I love it when pages, there's stuff stuck out the top and bottom of a book, so that was kind of deliberate. It's a little bit unwieldy, but I love it anyway. Here's those colors again. I go through again. My book was shut for a long time and the pages stuck together and peeled off. It just happens sometimes. This is a stamp I carved, this ladder, and I love how it's actually only about this long. I love the stacking of it, how it's in and out. So I don't use it very often, but I love this, and with this bird flying away. It's kind of got a tree trunk-ish feel, but also like cellular. It's cool. I love this page. I love this orange, how shocking it is on camera. It is really that bright too. A spread. I guess I flipped around at the beginning and like picked pages I wanted to work on. So there's another landscape from the beginning. Oh, and here's another of that color set again. This is another stamp I carved, again with those arches, and another stamp I carved. I love this blue, light phthalo blue. I think it works really well in a lot of situations. I've been experimenting, in the last year I've been experimenting with ink a lot too. So that's an acrylic ink there. I really love this page because it is the arch, but it's not the multiple arches, it's just the one, and I need to do more with that because I like just that singular arch. It's a you know, becomes a doorway to move through. And here I added arches with pen. My table's squeaky, I don't know if you can hear that. Here I've also, in the last year, experimented a lot with under marking on the page and then putting paint on top of it and having that depth of markings. So this is, you can see that really clearly here. I've done a lot with that this year. This is thread that is tied up in a little bundle and put on there. There's also several pages where, like this one, where the pages are short that I think makes a really interesting vignette. This is another one that does that. I deliberately made these pages different sizes, so you get a lot of variation there. I had this shell, and I just liked it coming up off the page like that. It was interesting. And again, those under marks. There's a whole video of me making this spread on my YouTube channel. You can check that out. This is a dogwood flower off my tree in my yard. And my youngest kid really likes to press flowers, so I dig through the book periodically and find something to grab. This is an image transfer, a gel medium in an image transfer, so I really love, it's like peeled off right here, but it did go all the way across the page. But I love how it's a different texture and it looks like you're peeking through a hole and see those trees. It's kind of an interesting feel to that. And again, this becomes almost landscape, even though it is not an actual landscape. It has that feel of a abstract landscape and kind of a sunrise feel. I've also been noodling around with these repetitive marks. So you see that here. I really love this green and teal. I've played a lot around with some color combinations in this book and have really developed some color palettes that I just keep going back to. And this kind of tealy and the magenta make, this teal and this magenta make this beautiful purple color. So I like to do that a lot. It's really satisfying. Again, there's another short page that works together really well, this green echoing this green. This is another one of those gel image transfers. I think there's, on my Instagram, there is a reel where I show how I made this gel transfer. Again, working through those under markings and trying to figure out like the graphic of that black and white image underneath that paint. Really kind of exploring those things. I love these inky markings under. This is very cave painting to me. Comes off very cave painting to me. Again, under those under markings. And this was a drip, and so it becomes kind of almost a letter element here that I really like. These are actual words. They don't look like it, but I've been, again, sort of developing a writing style that is, there are words there, but you cannot read what they say. The last couple years, I've really worked hard on increasing my use of my own handwriting and my own drawing. I had carpal tunnel for a really long time, and so basically couldn't hold a pen, and so I made, I did painting with my fingers because I couldn't hold a brush or a pen. And so sort of developing the skills of using a pen, using a brush have been a really slow process for me, because I actually really liked the finger, both the process of the texture of the paint on my fingers, but also the results. So working through that has been a slow process, and this book is a good catalog of some of that work for me. Here's that dyed paper again. See it come back around. Yeah, this has a lot of underwriting. I don't know if you can see under the orange there. And there's a black mark underneath. There's some black under, and then I painted and then drew over the top. There's some writing down here. I love this sort of ink, this watercolory feel to this ink. I think that turned out well. And this pink is just so luscious to me. There's a really short page. It's hard to hold on to there. This got folded down. I love this page, and I have a reel of the development of this page on my Instagram as well, if you want to check that out. Really enjoy, again, sort of working through the cord. The binding cord is right here, and it's kind of hanging out in the middle, so I'm trying to fold that down. Working through making marks with pens and pencils again. This is a cut page. I wanted to cut, and it kind of follows some of the, this is actually a print out of a page that I dyed. I dyed it and then scanned it and then printed it out double-sided. And so this, I kind of did the cut marks from the dye marks on the page. I don't know if you can see those. They kind of follow an irregular pattern, but mostly I just wanted a cut page, and I really love how this little eye peeks through right here. This becomes a face to me almost. With these two flowers. And talking about undermarking, this page really shows I did multiple layers of pencil and erased, and the same here. So you really get this really textural feel underneath here. I love this set of pages a lot. I love the colors. I love all of the writing. This feels like a direction I really want to explore, so there's probably going to be more of this in my work. And again, a lot of underwriting. I don't know if you can see here. Again, got on a sort of a color palette and wanted to explore the colors in some different ways. So you see these go through here a lot. These are graphite transfer sheets. I had a photograph that had these lotuses on them, and so I used the graphite transfer sheet and essentially traced the lotuses, but I really enjoy the effect that those give here. Did this page yesterday, and I painted, and I was going to draw, and I knew I was going to draw these kind of scale looking things on this. This kind of came out of nowhere, but it's pretty delightful how it turned out. I was not expecting to draw that, and I didn't set out to draw leaves in that way. So I love that, and I'm going to now practice it to see if I can perfect it a little bit. See if you can see that. I'm moving it so you can try to see the gold there. And then this last page, I just echoed that front page and the end date, which was yesterday. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. I love how it sits open, and I hope you'll check out my other stuff on my channels. Bye.